Hi, Fascia family. Okay, today, well, to give you a little background, used to be obese, released all over 70 pounds, held it off for many years. Then I was really bound to fascia. So I was having a lot of lockdown in my fascia, and my calves were getting as big as, or my ankles as big as my calves and as big as my thighs. And I was doing triathlons and marathons, and I just couldn't get any spring in my step. And I felt like I was beating up my body with every step I made. And I didn't have an answer, right? So about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I probably found a guy working on someone's tops of her foot with one of the originals back then. This is the party, but same size as the original. And I'm like, what? My feet have been my main crux of my problem. And I could not believe that someone gave me a solution and a different area to treat. I have done injections in my feet. I have done acupuncture, acupressure. I have done chiropractic care, physical therapy. I mean, everything, trying to get some pain out of my body and mostly in my feet and calf range. Anyhow, so I just want you to know I've been there. That's the point in that story. I've been there. I turned 60 in a matter of days. And I know what it's like to make changes, and I know what it's like to change things that you're not happy with your body. And I can't imagine living a life in pain. I can imagine more emotional pain than physical pain for me personally. So I'm just telling you that I get wherever you're at on that spectrum, and whatever keeps you in this game, I don't care. Just stay with the game. We've been gifted with Ashley Black inventing tools that made for the home. I have got tools that I work for the fascia because I'm a professional, that I work people's fascia beyond these tools. Well, guess what? Two things. They're not available to you. They're only available to pros, and they don't work as well as us. We see a lot of movement going on in there. And I'm the first one to say, get moving. A lot of the fascia movements, a lot of the stretching and everything, we need all of that for our body. But this is how I describe it to people. That moving and that stretching is like putting conditioner in a knot in your hair. You're still going to need some little bit of manipulation and combing for the fat to get the remaining knots out. And our hair is very similar to the knots that we find in our skin. Okay, so I do fascia work. I'm in San Diego. Gosh, I do nutrition. I do personalized nutrition, focusing on DNA. What else? What else? What else? I don't know. I just hope you get something from today. So let's work together, and we're gonna do chest to hips. And I would say if you could actually like pull up and start Googling how to work on biomechanics, what's the proper way to stand, what's the proper way to sit, what's the proper way to sleep. That way that no matter what you do as far as time that you're spending in your fascia, that fascia blasting, actually taking time out of your precious days and lives to treat your body, you're not going backwards. So when we're not standing right and walking right and having the right gait and using our toes right and using our arches up, our body cannot hold what we've just done, because that is working against you. That imbalance is working against you all the time. Because what happens is if you're all of a sudden collapsing your arches in your foot, all of your bones are now not aligned from your foot on up. And so then if the bones aren't aligned, that means the fascia system has a pull on it in a certain direction. And then it's going like this every single second, trying to create stability in the body because the bones are not stacking right to cause that, to create that, or to give you that stability. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so then as far as learning those best ways. It takes so much concentration and effort to change those things. But can I say one thing? Do it. Do it. I had to focus all the time. I used to walk with one leg out, collapse arch, or the whole thing. But anyhow, I still have catch myself. I still have to catch myself. And I still have to think, okay, walk all the way through, use my toe, feel my toe pushing off. Anyhow, so I'm just telling you, I'm a professional, I'm skilled, I'm knowledgeable, and it still takes me work. Just get in the game, stay as consistent as you can, and always work on your biomechanics along with whatever you do for your fascia. Okay, okay, that is helping your fascia. So by the way, I do have a bathing suit on that I really don't like because I like pinks. I like pinks. I like pinks and colors that match my favorite colors, but I needed a bandeau top today. I don't have a hair tie, great. That's gonna actually work so that we can do our chest. So what I do, I don't know if you guys use Ashley's oils, but I always use this when I'm traveling or away from home. But otherwise, I just take her spray bottle and I dump it into a little container because it seems faster for me. I do make my hands sturdier. I always have a towel by, but I always think of things fast because I'm always trying to like hurry and get things done and be highly effective. So I'm going to ask you to oil up your top part of your body. Now, we have fluids in our body. One is called lymphatic fluid. It lies in the superficial fascia line and it loves to move, just like our fascia loves to move. And so sometimes it's really good if we give it a little nudge, per se, a little push. And so you can take your little, if you've got the brush and blast, easy for me to say, out, you can use either side. I like the nubbier side, and just kind of rub it over this area. What you're trying to do is kind of like invigorate your skin area. That is getting your lymphatic system awake and alive. And if you focus a little bit on both sides of this clavicle bone, you've got a bigger duct there that can help pull some of that debris out. So what this really means is, I do this all on my clients. I've got a $56,000 piece of equipment that I do when I'm working fascia with someone. I work their lymph first. Anyhow, when we get debris, because our body encompasses a bazillion toxins every single day. When we get that debris stuck in our fascia adhesions, and then we work our fascia, and then it releases that into our circulatory system. We want our lymphatic system healthy and thriving and moving and pulling that out of our body, right? So we want that already activated and already moving. And I always go down in between my breast. Okay, so I'm going to grease back up because we do not ever want to pull skin. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Ashley's Flex has a lot of algae in her oils, and she has fat burners. Or so maybe that's her after cream, but I'll tell you about that addiction later. But basically, her oil has fat burning metabolisms in it, so it gives your body ability to burn fat. Now, we don't necessarily have a lot on chests that want to burn. Some people, but some people have a lot. They're fattier up here, so use it. The only thing is that the only harm you could ever do is nothing. It's adding nourishment to your skin. She's a skin freak. That's why she's created these other things as her secondary products, because she loves skincare. You find someone that's passionate and loves skincare, you buy their stuff. Okay, so let's just take a smelter tool, and I'm going to go right over that clavicle bone again. It can be very sensitive and it makes a lot of noise. Don't worry about the noise. Don't worry about the sensitivity. Just go lighter. If it hurts you, go lighter. So I am barely putting pressure on this. I'm using a face blaster. And then I'm going to go across, and I'm going to work the larger muscle of the chest cavity. We have pectoral major and pectoral minor. Major comes up and over the shoulder, right? So it's like deep into this webbing between the two and up over. So you want to do a pretty good level of intensity when we get over into these areas. When it's upper our bones, we're just doing light, 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 light. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. And I like to think about as women shaping up and kind of over the mounds, not just straight, because then we miss the outside and then we miss the inside. And actually, I'm going to teach you women to do what I do, and so I can get around my breast really easily and really well. Okay, so now I'm going to go the other direction, starting in the center in the sternum. And literally, I'm taking the teeth and putting them right on my sternum. And then I'm going to go across. And I move fast. The reason why we move fast, two reasons. We want to catch, it's normal for the tissue to want to go back to how it was, right? It's always trying to stay in the state it was until we influence it enough to change. So we want to make sure that we're moving fast enough to influence it, but also to get some blood supply. Blood supply not only brings nourishment to the top layers of our skin, but it pulls those toxins away from us. And then it allows for all the collagen and elastin. So the more natural red that you get in your skin from blasting, it says it's healthier. I'm getting more collagen, more elastin production. I'm pulling out those toxins out of your skin and getting them cleaned out of the body. Anywhere you feel sensitive, stay there longer. Okay, now let's do the other side. Lots of oil, no dragging of the skin. Okay, what else? I've been kind of addicted. This is, I don't know. I've got all the tools. There is not one of the tools that I go, oh, I do not have a mini one. I take that back. I do not have a mini one. Used to. Someone decided that they needed it more than I did. But that's okay. I love the mini too. I use the mini too. I didn't hardly ever use that mini one anyhow. So maybe they knew that. So let's go across. And we're working I forgot to tell you something on this other side. We'll get it on this side. So up and over that shoulder. And that's kind of what I like a little bit more about the paddle. It goes up and over these bones that are a little more sensitive. So much easier. And over that shoulder girdle, so much easier. But what we don't want to miss is this inside cavity where it divots in. So when you're going up, change the rotation. Don't just do a flat rotation where it's missing all that gems in between, okay? Now let's go up and down. So our pec minor starts up and then comes down more to the center of our boob. And it's kind of nice because we can kind of feel out which one tends to need more. Now, if you have implants like I do, they recommend that if you have got more, not Ashley, physicians recommend that if you've got behind this muscle implants, then you want to work minor more. You want to stretch that out more. If you've got over the muscle implants, then you want to work pectoral major more. Okay? If any of you girls forget whatever that's, just message me and I can get to that. I can get to that for you, okay? Feel like you've done anywhere that you've got a little bit more gristle, and I can feel it on my right side, which is normal. As a technician, I'm probably very right-handed, but I switch my hands all day long, but I'm more dominant on my right, of course, right? But I'm going to put the teeth a little more angled in, so I'm not laying it flat. I'm just doing one line, and I'm pushing a little bit harder. Now, I am a seasoned blaster, right? 9 years in this game, 8 years doing it professionally, certified now from Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. It's just nice. I mean, no, I don't need a certification, but actually I learned a few tips. And I was like movie star struck when I met her. Yeah. Do you blame me? I was like, whoa, whoa, right? It's almost like when I met Brad Pitt. Okay. But this feels pretty dang good to me. Now, I like to go back with the face blaster, and I'd probably just use a paddle if I didn't have a top on. And I want to go right in between my boobs. And I'm angling it. I'm angling it to the left boob, and then I'm going to angle it to the right boob. That way you just get all the little nuances. And then on your sides here, go ahead and grease those up. And then take it with one hand and go high on the side, right on the side of your breast tissue, on the outside behind that. And then you're going to do that on the other side. Now we warmed up superficial, right? We did the small tooth, superficial fascia, closer to the surface of the skin. Now we're going to do some deeper layers. You can do anything. I see a lot of people do this. I think Ashley does this a lot. I'm not naturally drawn to this. It doesn't make it wrong. That's what you can do. You can do it. If they are naturally drawn to that, I take my menu too. And I always kind of start at the clavicle because I want to activate those a little bit again. And then I just want to kind of scrub down. And I'm scrubbing, looking and feeling for like tension. Where is there tension? Where is there adhesions? Now, there's other sensations that can happen. If you feel tension, adhesions, soreness, you don't stop. You just go very light, and get your body healthier in that area. Now, if you have lack of sensation, which is typically what I had, a lot of, and I still get here, because it's when fascia locks down too long on a nerve and it cuts off some of that nerve activity, that communication. Okay, so I'm working that a little bit more aggressively on this side. I always do. So in the medical study, we never tested what it would be like to work our breast tissue. So we can't speak to that, but I can show you what I do. So Ashley Black did not do that in the medical study. We had to prioritize what to study at. And I think she did a pretty dang good job at it, right? How is our safety releasing too much hormones when we did belly fat? How is, are we actually metabolizing fats? You know, is this actually doing what it looks and appears as if it's doing? Okay, so now I like to also, like women that just had babies, I like to do the same things with that tissue that's kind of looser. Lean, let it fall away from you. Like I do my breast, I let it fall away from me. And then I take little corners of the face blaster or the pro blaster and I itch around my implants. So I'm not really kind of on my breast. I'm like a little bit on the sides as I've allowed for the tissue to fall away. Does that make sense? I hope so, you guys. You're so good by staying here with me. Okay, everyone get a drink of water. And as far as the tools you've seen me use, you'll see me use all different tools. I tend to get in these fixative modes. Like ever since the Pro Blaster came out, that is my number one I use on clients. That is my number one I use on myself. I mean, if you figure I do about 15 to 20 clients a week, plus myself. So that's somewhere between 20 and 25 sessions a week. And, you know, I feel I grip. I kind of like the difference in the body balance. The balance of how my hand has to hold this. I don't know. I love it. Okay, so I have been sitting with this around my belly. This is a moist heating pad. If you message me, I can show you where I got it at Amazon. I'm hoping Ashley will make her own. This moist, so it's more pliable. It's the heat radiates through here kind of in a different way. I can't even explain it, but I love it. And one of my clients was like, you should really try this one day. I used to only use heating pads, right? That's all I had. Now I've got infrared saunas and everything. But, you know, this It's always good to have this for quick heating to fall back on. It's got a temperature gauge and a time gauge. Okay, I'm just going to put this on my legs to keep me warm as I'm blasting here. So let's go ahead and blast and oil up all of our ribs and our belly. We're going to get detailed around our hips as we go through this at the very end, but I want to do a justice to this before we get into all the nuances around the hips. Hips are so important. They get so stiff as we get old. And, you know, if you hear about all the surgeries that we normally women have through the years, it's hips and then knees, knee replacements. Okay, so I'm just going to double up. Small two tools. We're going to work superficial fascia. Oh, don't let me forget. I'm going to work my lymph on it. So I'm just going to invigorate that skin and work the lymph. We have a lot of lymph ducts in our bellies. And come around the edges, right? Come around your edges. Don't be shy on getting around the edges. We're not doing back today, but you got to remember the stomach doesn't just start here, it goes all the way around. And I've got scars below. I've got a tubal pregnancy, 3 scars on this one side of belly. And then I've got double hernia scars. I've got more scars on this body than any girl deserves. But I was kind of tomboy or wanted to be athletic when I was young, but I just didn't have my skills. Horse accident, car accident, motorcycle accident, you know it, you name it. Okay, so what are we going to do? Grease up because we don't pull skin, especially when you're older. You will notice if you keep tugging on that skin, you get my age, you're going to notice that thing was saggy and loose. And, you know, that already happens, right, from age. So you just want to really be mindful of that. So let's go ahead and grab our small tooth tool. Small tooth tool. Let's double blast. Warm up. One nice thing is you can just make this exercise, right? If you are a new blaster and you're wondering, how am I going to fit this in? Fit this in instead, make this your exercise. When I first started fascia blasting, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, I gave up some running times and I started fascia blasting during those times. And then I learned how to fascia blast fast so that I could work some cardio in there. And days that I'm tired, sometimes I still work fast. And other days I'm tired when I'm legitimately like, okay, long day. You know, I worked on more clients than my body really likes to work on. I do have a threshold. I do know exactly what that threshold is. And sometimes when I overdo it, my body will talk to me. So when you're doing this, you see, I'm just every little nuance of spots. I am not doing long strokes. Long strokes don't really work for me until I'm completely warmed up. I like to do small little strokes where I can feel things a little bit more. When I start doing this, I'm like, where was that one spot at that was tender? So I'm feeling a tender spot in here. And so I like to do little nuances and I'm taking in information. I'm paying attention. Where does my body feel tight, problematic, adhesion, sensitive, and so on. Okay, nice and warm. Look how red that is, right? That's just from me doing consistent fascia work, keeping my tissue happy and healthy. Okay, so now I'm going to take a big tooth tool and I'm going to, you might not be able to see the head, hang on. I'm going to squeeze my knees together. I'm going to squeeze my butt, push my butt in, and push it forward, okay? That actually stabilizes my hips. So when I do that and then lean back, trying you guys, lean back, I can get my whole abs and I'm working myself out. I'm working my inner thighs. I'm working my abdomen. Come around the edges. come around the edges. Oh, feels good, right? Now, if you have excess skin here or excess weight in this area, like sometimes if I'm sitting down and I'm blasting and I'm doing, because I've got excess skin, I hold the skin tight and I try to get in between those layers because I'm trying to keep that skin tight. So I want to work in between those layers. If you've got some layers with some rolls, you want to do the same thing. You want to hold that tight so you can get in there, and you just use one hand. It doesn't have to be with a party blaster. It could be with anything, I mean, including the mini too. Whatever is easiest and best for you, okay? But then I like to do diagonals. She talks about the diamond. So I think about coming in right over on the inside of my bone, of my hip bone. Now, I will tell you, I love working right at my joints. I believe it gets very sticky in those areas. I do believe that a lot of the adhesions that happen in our body happen because it is trying to create stability in our joints because we're not biomechanically sound. We've got one strong muscle, like a strong quad and a weak hamstring. So those imbalances have it difficult on our body and our skeletal system. And then so it's trying to secure and stabilize the joint, which we want that. It's beautiful. That's beautiful of it. So it helps us so that we don't have to get those things replaced every week, right? So if I can get better health at the joint, I do believe the inner circle is going to look better. Better health at the joint is going to make the inner area look better. Okay. So then let's go back up to these ribs. If you have got a fattier rib due to either large breast or poor posture, you might need to work this with the smaller tooth for a really long time before you get a decent amount of blood supply to be able to move to the larger tooth tool. Watch your body, let it tell you when it's ready to progress, but just be consistent. Okay, so then I'm going to squeeze my knees, squeeze my rear end, lean back, and scrub that bottom area. Scrub, 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 scrub. Okay, then big tooth tool can come up here on my sides and behind my hips. So I literally like to get, how can I say, the teeth right behind the hip bone. And I'm focusing, you see I can roll it out or in. I'm focusing on the in roll a little bit more. So I'm actually putting a little bit more pressure towards the hip bone. And then I kind of work my way back a bit. And that's kind of working that love handle really well. But we're talking about the health of the hips, which is important. So then I go down. So I put most of my pressure in the palm of my hand, pressing on the top tooth and pressing down. I can feel some little gravel spots in there right now. Okay, let's do that other side. Come up. And then down on that hip. Ooh, it feels good. And back behind where I'm putting, remember, angling it more, not this way, but this way, in, so it's hitting right behind that hip bone. Oh, that feels good. Then I'm going to take the top tooth and I'm going to angle down a bit. And I'm going like right over the top of the hip bone and a little behind it. Right over the top of the hip bone and a little behind it. Okay. Final move. Either paddle, blaster, or face. We'll do hip bones. So this is kind of supposed to go sideways, but I'll get it to come up. There we go. So I like to go right over the hip bones and then come down at an angle, right over the hip bones, and then go back at an angle. Over the hip bones, in at an angle. Over the hip bones, and back is at the angle. Okay, both sides. Right over that bone. Don't let it scare you. The angle in, this lymphatic duct, this soft tissue that you feel there, you're going right below that. And if you ever go over that, you just do it so light that your body doesn't get defended or on its defense mechanisms trying to protect anything, because you're just going top. And then back behind. Forward, back behind. So important, you guys. I know this looks like it's nothing, but this is everything up and over this hip. Gotta take care of these hips. I promise you. Not steering you wrong. Okay. Now, I have a little problem with the bigger blaster up and over hips. I kind of have to do little tiny moves when I'm going up and over the hips, but I don't have a lot of excess meat on me. Maybe a little tummy fatty, but okay. Thanks for letting me joke. Okay. Up and over those. So even though most people have more fat here, if we don't treat this whole surrounding area, this says, I don't think this gets better. It gets better, but such a slower process. And if you treat the bones and everywhere where things start to get sticky, and you get those up moving, and then you go and you work your hard. That's my gem. That's what I like to do. You do that, and then you work on your biomechanics, and ladies, your lives will change. Your body can feel so much healthier and younger. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever tried her after blasting cream. I can't actually call it the after blasting cream because it's my daily cream. It's what I use when I get out of the shower. So, you know, she's a goop monster. I call myself a goop monster. She is a goop monster too. She loves salves and body scrubs and lotions and potions. That's why she does what she does. That's why after figuring out fascia, she's like, I got to figure out this. So on the after blasting cream, it has got anti-inflammatories, anti-bruising agents. It has got nourishing all that algae, and I mean, besides that, it smells like sunshine. I do like to smell real good. There's no doubt about that. However, I will use something that is unscented often because of what is in the ingredients. And so I use the after blasting cream. This is my daily cream. And many times I shower at the yoga studio, probably like 4 days a week, 5 days a week. And everyone's always like, oh my God, what smell is that? What is that? So the idea is, yes, it smells good, and that's what captures people's attention. Great. But guess what? It's bringing nourishment to your body, just like food. Food matters. Water, hydration, the proper food. We can't eat McDonald's and hope that our fascia, the inflammation, the toxins removed out of our body. It doesn't work like that. We have to be responsible for things. But we can do it. But it doesn't have to happen overnight. Improvement is improvement, and your body goes, whoa, 20 more ounces of water in a day? I feel fantastic, right? It doesn't have to be, oh, I've got to drink 100 ounces more tomorrow. Oh, I've got to have every single thing in my diet. That's what I learned. It's like, the more you will sabotage yourself, the more that you really take on too much at one time. Okay, the serum. Now, if I was going to the beach, I would be taking the firming serum, and I would be putting the serum certainly on my belly. Now, if I'm going to the beach, I'm also taking the serum and putting it on the tops of my knees. And there's one more spot. Backs of my arms. Now, not going to the beach, just having my average day. I'm going to use it on my neck and my face. But what I liked about it is that I wasn't sure I could use this on my body at first. And so I reached out. And the answer's like, hello. Yeah. So, which is good at 60. You know, you want all the tools in your tool shed. But what always makes you feel good is like not only the healthier, the more beautiful your tissue is, it means it's the healthier tissue. And what else can we ask for? Healthy tissue gives us pain-free bodies, professional, or it gives us ability to do our sports that we want. It actually gives us mobility, and it gives us ability to breathe well. It gives the body's ability to communicate well, to switch all those afferent and efferent neurons well, to communicate from the body to the brain. So, you know, pretty important, pretty important. I won't preach all day, or maybe I would. Okay, you guys, thank you for having me. Sending you many well wishes and a boatload of kisses. Okay? See you soon.